Uncle Story Time. Story 1. My parents' bedroom. I currently reside in my family home with my husband and 3 sons. I have fond memories of our home as a little child. There are also many memories which I wish I could tuck away in a little box and store it at the back of my brain, never to be found again. We moved into this home in 1988. I was only 6 years old. From what I remember, it was all good and well. But as I grew older, things started to change. I was about 10 or 11 when our family began experiencing supernatural occurrences with my mom. Most of it was in her bedroom. The room always had an eeriness to it. It was in the front of the house facing the east. My bedroom as well was alongside my parents' room, but their room never warmed up. The sun never warmed up that room. There was always a chill in there, even on the hottest summer day. My mom always said that as soon as my dad bought the house, it was as though he bought a coffin. As I grew older, I began to understand what she meant. Her happy life had soon become like a death sentence for her as time went by. She began getting sick. At first, it would be headaches and body pains. We were also struck with tough financial times. As little children, my brother and I did not fully understand the extent of my parents' battles. My dad did his best, and my mom made sure there was always a hot meal and a roof over our heads at night. My mom had become sick and very paranoid over time. She had also become very pessimistic toward life in general. I watched as a little girl, I was only 14, how my mom fought with thin air and ended up losing 2 of her front teeth. She was a small, petite woman, but when she had these demonic attacks, she would become a different person. She would speak in an African language and laugh, then cry and say that she was an African person and that she wanted her hand and leg back. As I mentioned, my mom had become disabled after her stroke in 1997 at the age of 45. Even when she was in her normal senses, she would say that she would dream of a young African male asking her to please return his hand and leg back. She would often complain that something would sit on the bed next to her. Sometimes she would get up with scratch marks all over her body. She was really fair-skinned, so the marks would be very visible. There were times she would awake with marks all over her neck, which looked like love bites or hickeys, as some people call it. We would laugh as we all knew there was nobody with her, as this would only happen when my dad was on the night shift. There was one day we were all downstairs, and we could hear the furniture being moved in her room. When we got upstairs, all the bedding was strewn around the room, and the bed was moved in the opposite direction. So, these are my not-so-fond memories of my parents' room. The only time I felt a sense of warmth in that room was the day my mom passed away. As she lay on the bed, I sat beside her, and I literally felt from the pit of my stomach a warmth came over me whilst I was in that room. It is my belief that whatever spirit had been attacking her had finally left. After both my parents passed, we, as per Hindu customs and rituals, performed a cleansing of the entire home. My son now occupies that room, and he loves it. He says it brings him closer to his grandparents, whom he loved. He was also their favorite. The room is now very light and airy. There have been no paranormal happenings since her passing. My dad used the room for 4 years after, and my son used to share the room with him. I, however, will not sleep there even if I was paid to. Story 2. Grandmotherly Tough. This one happened in Durban, 2018. My grandma had planned a 5-day vacation for her, my brother, my niece and I in Winkelsproot. We were driving up from the Eastern Cape on a Thursday and returning the following Thursday. But the morning of our departure, whilst on the road, we received a call from my grandma's younger brother that their elder brother had passed on. So our vacation turned into a funeral attendance. We tried extending our stay for an extra 2 days, thus leaving on the Sunday, since the funeral was to be held that Saturday. But because it was the holidays, therefore peak season, the lodge we were staying in was already fully booked. We struggled finding another place close by. My grandma had chosen Winkle Spruit because it was closer to her younger brother, whom they get along with, and further from her other siblings, whom she also gets along with. But you know sisters, no matter how old they get, they still have sisterly squabbles, and she had just wanted peace of mind that trip. Long story short, my brother found a place in Ilovo, which isn't too far from her brother's homes. The place my brother found was sort of like an all-in-one. It was a self-catering place and had a backpackers, camping grounds for day visitors and overnighters, and a tall building with a playground area at the back and a view overlooking the ocean. The view was nice. To describe the apartment, not good at this, so bear with me. You walk in through the door, and on your left is a kitchenette, sink, and cupboards. To your right is the bathroom. Continue into the apartment, and to your right, next to the bathroom, is a dining area with a 6-seater table and a flat screen mounted in the corner above. Very awkward place to put it, because you had to strain your head from the table to see anything. Right next to the table are 2 bunk beds facing each other. Across, on your left, past the kitchen now, is a wardrobe and a dressing table with a mirror. Straight ahead is a bedroom. That's the one that had the ocean view. Naturally, my grandmother and niece took the bedroom. I chose the bottom bunk bed that was against their bedroom wall, and my brother chose the top bunk bed that was next to the table. Now, the lodge we had been staying in had supplied us with blankets. Unbeknownst to us, this one had blankets as well at the top of the wardrobe. We're all short, except my brother who saw them, but for some reason chose not to mention it. They had only placed 1 blanket in the bedroom and 1 on the bunk beds, which my brother quickly claimed. All I had was a fleece blanket that we had driven up with from home. It was chilly for Durban, and that first evening I went to bed sulking because I only had the fleece blanket and used my towel for that extra layer. At say around 6 to 7 a.m., I heard my grandma's bedroom door open and her walk into the bathroom. After freezing all night, I wasn't fully asleep, but kept dozing in and out. I remember hearing my grandma open the bathroom door, then walk towards her room. But that's when I was dozing off. I felt her place a blanket over me, but was still a bit annoyed at having to sleep with no blankets, so I kept my eyes shut and fell back asleep. Fast forward to around 8 a.m. I'm woken up by my brother and he is mad. He starts shouting at me. Why did I take his blanket? I calmly tell him that Mama, we all call our grandma Mama, placed it on me this morning, that he must take it up with her, which is exactly what he did. He goes into her room and confronts her. Next thing, they all come out of her room. My brother still upset, my niece amused, and my grandma swearing she never touched his blanket. That yes, she did get up to use the bathroom but went straight to bed afterwards. My niece also denied it, but we all knew it couldn't have been her, because she was a child and wouldn't have thought of taking the blanket from my brother to give to me. There were a lot of grumpy people that morning. Lol, my grandma attended the funeral. We stayed behind and enjoyed our day at the beach. My niece played in the play area, and all was forgotten and forgiven. On our last evening, while lying in bed, I had a vision of an elderly Boer grandma standing by the kitchen sink with her back to me. She had gray curly hair, pulled up in a loose bun, and was wearing a floral pinafore with a pastel blue short-sleeved gown over it and slippers. I felt her smiling at me, and I silently thanked her. Serves my brother right for not telling me there were extra blankets on top of the wardrobe. Most places we visit always have a spirit attached to them, no matter how new, and I am always in the center of things. Nothing scary, just puzzling as in, did that just really happen? They never used to believe me until my sister, niece, and sister's friend all witnessed it with me whilst on holiday in Cape Town. But that's another story for another day.